Hi there and welcome to my channel. This is Kate in the Journal Nest in Australia, and I'm so glad that you are joining me right now because it is time for us just to be us, to do ourselves and to get busy creating. So whatever thing that you are making or working on today, I'm so glad that you are here and let's have some fun. Today we're going to do some stitching and some crocheting and just see where we lead. As usual, I've gathered some colors together that are speaking to me. It's a very foggy, misty morning here, but I am excited to have the opportunity to film in the morning. So let's look at these colors because these are the ones that spoke to me. I've got a combination of threads and crochet hooks. I've got my little pin cushion that I've threaded up in advance, already tangled. Get my scissors out, two different size crochet hooks because we'll see where that takes us, some little appliques and some lace that we are going to work on, try some things together with. And these beautiful colors I picked up in the one bag. If I just show you, from the sewing basket sale yesterday. This entire bag was full to the brim, and all of these were for $5. So like 10 huge balls in there. So that's the inspiration that will keep me going for my lifetime. Some little bits and pieces, some variegated. I think I've been sharing with you, I'm loving variegation at the moment. So let's leave those out. I found a cushion cover the other day. This is so bright for Kate, but I sort of like that combination. And I'm newly inspired to do a garden of applique and bits and pieces. So let's get into the garden and I'll just explain where I'm up to. This is a new piece of who knows what it will be, but I've begun with just layering two pieces down that didn't match over some wool. You'll see it every time I stitch because it's going to, it's just the most beautiful thing. And I've started to lay down some little bits and pieces, little flowers that I'd like to put in place with you. And this is the, I shared it, I'm just trying to think. Kate Can't Stop Stitching. So really, really rough applique at the moment. I'm going to refine that, but on the same piece of work with these two flowers. So to start us off this morning, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is, there is no better time than to start some slow stitching with some running. Now I'm just going to see, because this is all new for me, if I start over here, I'm going to try and keep this in place so I don't make you dizzy. I've also got my crochet hooks and everything else in the way. I haven't knotted at this point, and I probably should, but I know for the moment that this is going to, can you see my hands if they're down here? Yeah, because I'll get to here. I just don't want to displace it too much before you get the hang of my thoughts. I'm twisting my hands in all sorts of new ways. And how are you? I hope you are well and feeling excited about whatever your plans are for the day or the night ahead. As I said, I've got a clear day, so I'm not going to leave the house. I've got lots of projects. And of course the obligatory sneeze when I come down to this room and open the window. The beautiful breeze brings some pollen in. So, quick explanation. when I don't plan ahead, but I do like to sort of balance up. So when I first started this piece, that looked very, very stark up there and totally the opposite to here. But by bringing this piece down diagonally, I'm hoping it's going to balance out. So this running stitch is how I always get my inspiration. Calms down my heart rate, I think. Not that I can complain because I'm just feeling so happy and joyful. To get to do this for a little while today. So I might end up, actually, that's probably a little bit long. We'll work on that in a minute. But I'm going to try and be efficient, I suppose, in laying down a number of pieces as I do my relaxing stitch. So what are we going to do? We're going to go over here, and I'm using a variegated pearl thread for the first time really this week. Many of you will be saying I've been using it for years and love it, and so I'm just joining you. Previously I've been loving the wool, and we'll do some of that as well. At this point I'm just going to go under that big green leaf because I don't want green to be a big feature of this garden, but in a way it's sort of a green that I can live with. And I was just thinking of some of your comments and the encouragement I've been receiving about bright colours. It is so funny that in my journals and junk journal work, I do tend to stick to the neutrals and the indigo blues and the denim. But in this work, which I don't know really what to call, except really, I should just call it I Love Stitching, I am loving the freedom. So if you are someone who hasn't used colour a lot, or maybe the opposite, that you haven't used creams and neutrals in your stitching, my encouragement, because that's what this is about, is for you to experiment and feel excited about trying new and different things. So this is quite a big piece, which sort of makes it easier to stitch down. So I'm thinking this is a really, you probably won't be able to see this bit. This is something I got. It's a hanky, but it's absolutely the most pale baby blue. Oh, babe, what am I talking pale? I'm looking at blue flower. That's Kate crazy. Palest pink underneath, and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. Okay, this is Kate's contorted hands trying to keep the piece low, and my thoughts are I sort of want to balance up these corners, and okay, many of you are way more experienced than me, but this idea of patching so that you cover up the joins underneath and it starts to build layer upon layer. Okay, let's quickly go up here because I have no doubt that this will get covered in little things. Just the joy that comes from slow stitching is just beyond happy making. Welcome to my new subbies. It has been, I'll go under actually because I'm close to the edge. Such a thrill for me. Absolutely, I treasure every single one of you. So thank you for learning with me. This is not a tutorial from an expert. This is someone learning alongside. Okay, I'm loving that so much. I'm just going to, before we do some crocheting, let's think about some of these other pieces. And I want to, actually, before I go too far ahead, my idea is today we're going to play with some crochet using this lace piece. So I'm thinking that I want to have enough, if we do some work, that we have enough space to put this on. So what about, just going to, again, this was from the sewing basket yesterday, their big sale. It's incredible. And I know here in Australia we're very blessed. Many of you have said that you don't have access to these materials, and I feel bad about that. I'm trying to work out how we can all help each other. And I know there are people who sell their bits and pieces as well on Etsy. But luckily I have mostly collected all that I have from op shops, from gifts from like my mom and people who know that. And when I go to the sewing basket, you always think surely they will have run out, but there seems to be a never-ending supply. Over here, this is my first time. This is a flannelette. I think I called it something silly when I started it, but it's just so comforting. That's an old sheet, and I keep just liking to touch it. Okay, so what am I doing? I started off telling you a story. Oh, okay, so I'm going to crochet this lace, but before we do that, I'm going to share with you what I'm thinking with that. Let's see, in terms of our composition, that's balanced with that. Can the lily start emerging? Growing. So in my head, I'm designing or growing, stitching a garden, a feast. Okay, I like that there. Pretty pink pin. So if you can bear with me, I am going to see if we can put these flowers on. And then see how we can incorporate some, oh, look at these. Oh, forgot to show you them at the beginning. Again, apologies to those who can't cut up their doilies. I totally understand that. But I sound like a broken record, but I believe by dividing them and sewing them and treasuring them, we are giving them new life. Okay, take that off. And I'm actually going to move this now. And same idea, but this is a wool, a variegated wool, and I haven't gone to the trouble of even trimming around close to the lily leaves, because I like here to have the idea of, we might do something to the lily. I'm using a stitch that basically goes over the top of different lengths, and not too tight a stitch, because I like the idea that this could be natural. Does that make sense? That stitching sort of uses random, there we are, that's the new word, I was struggling. Let's call it random stitching. And interestingly, I love that old selvage, or whatever that was called, from this big piece now actually shows through. So little stitches around the corner. I'll try and put my, just thought I better not be too slow stitcher, otherwise we'll never get to where I want to. Okay, that's how that is. I'm almost tempted, and I'm going to. This is how I link, and it's just my crazy mind, that to get the same colour thread, instead of continuing around there, just going up over this raw edge of the hanky. Another chance just to do my favourite stitch. I will go all the way. I was thinking I couldn't start some favourite rows up and down, but we will leave that for another time. So I suppose if we go to purpose, I'm sharing this because I'm having fun, and I would be doing it anyway, but I have been blessed by this community and all your kindness, and that's why I'm doing this with you. And I suppose my encouragement is, whether you have one project or many projects, whether you're fast or slow, bright or neutral, whether you're a stitcher, a painter, a knitter, a crocheter, whatever you are doing, we're just united together in our love of making and creating. Oh, there's my first. Do a quick thread. Because I just want to, what do I want to do? Actually, I might leave that pinned. I'll just pick up that edge there and go back across this way. So that we've got the stitching of the variegated pearl and now some wool beside it. And I'll finish this off down on this big piece. Like this. Oh, tiny little bit left. Okay, so there we are. We have our flower garden rapidly growing down here. We're balancing up this way, and now it's time. I do have a pink and an orange crochet hook. I think this is too big for what we want to work on today, and this might be too small, but so for that reason I have to bring my blue. I think I'd really love to design some, maybe they're these bright colors so we don't lose them, but I'd love to have a color coordinated range of hooks. Okay, so quick, I know many of you are learning crochet at the moment or picking it up after a long break. So just a quick review. The most satisfying thing, start with the loop, some already tied in. I'm just going to, again, just review what we've gone so far. So chain stitch, over the needle, through the loop, over the needle, through the loop, and I'm thinking that we might use some of this actually in the garden to applique down. So let's just do, now if you want to, if you're following a pattern, I should, and many of you will know this, but just in case you're a beginner, the way you count is, I don't count at the same time, I just count as, well, you can do both. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and depending on your tension, the cotton, all of that, it'll, so for me that's like an inch and a half. So let's do another 10 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, I gather speed, 10, and let's just finish that. And that is going to end up somewhere in our garden. Easy as that. Now, I'm not worrying about those tails because we can use that even to do some couching thread. So that's one little bit of crochet in the pink. Now, I mentioned that I'd like to use some lace with some crochet, and in a way this might be opportune time to think about, okay, so I'm just getting these ideas as I go along. And really with the freedom that there are no mistakes. Everything can be used. So my idea, okay, so this is a perle. Now this is going to be skinny crochet. Maybe that's too thin. Why don't we go to this one, which I got yesterday. Find an end. Sometimes the hardest thing. Looks so beautiful. It's like a candy. There's. Okay, we're on a roll now. Okay, so we're going to do the same loop, but this time I'm going to see if we can crochet using the holes around here, and basically use the crochet as a foundation stitch for some more rows. So just better check. Is that clear enough for you? Yes. So I've got the loop on here. This is a thinner needle, but I do like that it's orange. And I don't mind about that stray string there. So I've gone in, so I've got 2 loops, and now I'm going through, and we've made like a single crochet, that would be called. In any hole that you can find, hook, and if you're a beginner, it's okay to manually, you might need to do that manually. How you hold it is your own, you'll get into a pattern. So the more you do it, it'll feel right. So into the hole, hook, bring through, 2 loops, and pull it through. Okay, and let's keep going. In, through, and pull. In. My hands have gone a bit shaky. I think that's excitement. I'll do a few more. So in, and then we'll have a look at what it's coming out like. And see, this is why I love crochet so fast. It's like if you can put slow stitching and fast and effective crochet together, it is really powerful and effective. Well, I love the look of it. And you know I'm a bit quirky. And this variegation, I'm going to do the whole line, then let's have a chat about it. Is there. So the variegated thread, so very pink to start. We're in the white bit, and I'm thinking we're going to sort of border this piece. So they'll introduce another texture. And let's hope we get to some pink. So if we're going around the corner, we do an extra stitch into the same place, and that just gives you enough flexibility. I'll show you that. So 2 into the 1. I might just stop talking for a little while. And Speedy Gonzalez says, I'm just sort of feeling how many, because these holes are bigger, I'm putting 2 into each. Yep, in fact we might do 3 here because the lace now runs out up there, so I'm going to go down to this bigger hole. So because we're going through the corner again, if you like, a few more stitches in there. So I'll just show you what I'm doing. So we've got up here, round here. Now we're going to go all along this edge. What I'm thinking is, this edge is so beautiful. Do I really need to cover that up? Because I could stitch. I could stitch, but let's just show you how beautiful this can look when it's crocheted. we go. One more. So there we are. We've got the little line here. So there's no hole here, so I'm going to make the decision to go in there. And then into that hole. Remember, you can't do it wrong, and for something like this you don't need a pattern. Really, we've just done the single same stitch all the way along, and the idea is just to show you some things that you can experiment with. And I'm not going to go down that edge, I'm going to chop that now. Just finish it off. What do we think? Which way will we go? So endless opportunities. I'm actually thinking like this, because this can be talking to that flower. Show the applique. Right, so I'm going to whiz back to stitching now. Oh, I hope you're impressed. I still have one needle threaded. Put that up there. And again, I'm just going to use these holes in the, I've been calling it crochet, but it's lace. Sorry, I'm getting all my terms mixed up. Doesn't matter. To anchor this down. Oops. So that's Kate's trick. How to almost every time I make a video, I manage to catch the scissor handle. All right. So let's turn this around now. And I could do all sorts of things, but I'm just going to go down between the stitches so that you can still see the single crochet. Now I'm going to risk something here. A number of you have been asking about crochet tutorials and how-tos, and because I've been doing it for so long, I don't know where to go on YouTube, but I am recommending that you go searching. But at the same time, I am about to start a project of using granny squares in bright colours to actually create some garments and some bags. So I don't know whether to do that under this tag or not, like as in the journal nest, or to go separately. But if you would be interested in following that or have some ideas, just let me know. So basically, have we got room in our lives for Kate doing an absolutely dedicated crochet series? Because as I've said before, for me it's just about sharing. I'm going to be doing it anyway, and crochet squares are so easy that if you want to learn, I'd love to have you making the squares along with me, and then we could I could do a hashtag actually, and we could, never done one of those, but I do it with, like I've joined Rachel and Sarah's Journal of Stitchery, and that is amazing, doing the prompts. So anyway, that's what happens when I do this lovely stitching. I just get lots and lots of more ideas. Maybe there are YouTubers that do that already. I haven't had time to check that out. Okay, we'll get rid of the pink. Truly in my happy place, and I'm hoping you are in yours. Oops. There might even be 2 videos today because I'm going to be doing lots of project work, but I'm thinking about sharing. I don't know, because I know some of you haven't got access, and I don't want to make you feel sad or missing out. But I am thinking about sharing about my trip to the sale and just showing you some of the goodies, because I'm going to be using them. I think I'm going to commit to that. Okay, now where's that little bit of crochet we did before? Just playing around with ideas. Not yet. I think it probably needs to be on a smaller. So probably in hindsight, I should have done my chain longer and had the flower in mind. But not to worry. Do we want to do a bit more crocheting now? Or I've got this beautiful needle threaded. Okay, I'm going to be brave and come down here. And why I'm going to be brave is I've never, I don't know what this is called, but I'm going to go over, I'm going to go over the top of this green bud, or whatever it is, with this variegated thread. So I think it's satin stitch. Really love this variegated thread. I truly think it does magical things by accident. I can't take the credit for it, but I love how it enhances. Now I'm thinking, yep, no, I'm going to go to the bottom. I was going to see if I could make that look like some little seed. Not that good yet. One more stitch. I just love how, as I'm doing this, I can feel how the layers are building up under my fingers. So if you want to see how this looked from the very beginning, it's on Kate Can't Stop Stitching, because it was born out of an insatiable desire just to. So I'm not a worrier about the back, but just to show there's not a lot of stitching coming through there. Okay, a little bit more. Maybe not. What have we done? We've done the garden, we've done a little bit of crochet there. I'm feeling we need to do a little bit. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. Here's this little, maybe this bit. Let's do this one. Let's see if we can use a very fine, and this is cotton pearl, doesn't matter what we call it. Now this is going to be very tiny work. It's going to take a smaller but lovely coloured crochet hook and see what we can do. Let's find a hole to start. Yeah, there. So the difference is that was quite thick cotton, this one, and you can see it a lot. Here I'm going to try for something finer, and I'm going to show you another chain idea that can be really effective. So we've got that in. Actually, I don't like the way it's in, so got it a little bit tangled. Let's make our knot again. Not our knot, our slips. I don't know what it's called. It's just a loop. All crochet starts with this, and as does knitting. So in here. So you can see that my hands don't as naturally go to the thinner cotton. So I would always advise you to start with a wool or something where you can sort of get to understand your stitches. Okay, Kate was going to start up here for a reason, yes. So slip through, mightn't be able to see these stitches, but it's going to be worth it. Hang with me. One more try. Okay, we're ready. So we're going to do 3 chain. 1, 2, 3. Look how fine that is. And in fact, I think we're going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tiny needle. And then we're going to find a hole. We're going to anchor it again. Bring it through. 2 loops on the needle and in. So we've made an edge rather than, so there's a separation there. Now that's telling me I need even more for what I want to do. I'm going to show you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 chains this time, because we're making it up. No right or wrong. Come on. Oops. There. So see that delicate little chain is going to make a loop around the lace. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do it again. So just please be aware that you may find this a little bit more challenging if you haven't done a lot of crochet. And I'm doing it, but it's only because of the fineness of the, I'm using sewing cotton. crochet is very forgiving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and let's go here. Now if we had all the time in the world and we didn't have to go and do chores and things, we could go all the way around that, but I'm going to stop it there. And my idea is we've got that lovely loop here, and then we're going to put this on the needle. And just stitch it in place. How's that for a new idea? Never done that either. Okay, but where do we want it? That's there. So it's saying to me, oh, maybe like that. I think, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Bye-bye flower. Oh, there's a needle. All right. I'm going to pick up that stitch there. Oh, got the whole thing round. Oh, and watch out for those loops. And how about that? So I have been thinking that if you haven't got access to doilies, that we could make some together. They won't be as old, but if we just had some tea-stained material, and you can do some basic crochet stitch like this, you'll have your own doilies in no time. Maybe someone already does that and I don't know about it. Anyway, just making it up. So this has been a true combination of slow stitching and crocheting. I always like to finish with you feeling that we've got somewhere in our time together. So I'm just going to go across here. Big stitches today because I'm actually liking featuring this beautiful thread, and how versatile is that if you can do both with it and then sort of get tired of one thing. I'm going to run up on this beautiful handkerchief. So that makes 3 rows there. Come back into the crocheting. I'm going to leave that loose for the moment. I'm going to tuck that little end in there, and almost let's I want to do a blanket stitch, but I'm facing the wrong way, so I'm just going to do an up and down stitch. Is that whip or something like that? So to match the big stitches on the other side, let's just make this interesting. This is Kate's naive style, remember? Nothing formal about this. Just following where my hands and heart say to go. And then because I've got stitch left, back up here. And then the extra one in there. Just weaving it under. Like that, and up to the top, and we'll go across and finish. Like, anchor down that little loop. Oops. I've had so much fun already today. I hope you are having as much fun. That's not meant to be there on your projects. So these are really flowers of joy. Going flower to flower and edge to edge. So I'm going to just finish this off and we'll do a quick recap, and I'm just going to encourage you to watch out for, so what are we going to think about? I'm going to use some of these pieces in Roxy's Journal of Stitching video coming up, and I'm going to share some inexpensive treasures that I found, and I'm going to ask you about your interest in me starting a, let's call it a bright, it's going to be contemporary granny squares from scratch, and we'll do square by square to make a garment, or we might start with a carry bag or something like that. And it will be about just learning together and then sharing. Is that too much to think about? Sorry if it is. Totally ignore it if that doesn't interest you at all. That is okay. All right. Let's tidy the nest up a little bit. Running out of battery, so that's always the best reason to finish. So we didn't get to the orange. We've used little bits and pieces to work on the garden. Not there yet, but with a flower to flower approach, we will continue to enjoy. We've used crochet around the edge here. We've used fine crochet to make some texture and loops here, and we're going to use this chain to embellish on it. Anyway, I'll share that with you another time. For now, thank you so much for joining me and watching. This is Kate saying bye, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.